everybody. It's Mark Pattison. I'm back again with another great episode of Finding Your Summit, all about people overcoming adversity and finding their way. Before we get to today's wonderful guest, let's talk about the website, www.markpattisonnfl. Of course, I've got over 240 different podcasts that are on there of really amazing people doing incredible things. We're going to talk to another one of those guys today. That's number one. Number two is there's a bunch of icons, social media icons at the top of that website. And one of them is a YouTube channel. I'd really appreciate the love of going in and subscribing to that channel. The money, whatever I make, is going to go towards Higher Ground, which is another tab on my website. I continue to raise a whole bunch of money for Higher Ground, helping empower others do phenomenal things. A lot of those people are military folks who have come back from these wars damaged, and we're trying to help them as much as we can, as well as my daughter, who has epilepsy, and she's on her way to recovery. So I'm really excited about that. And always you can find the NFL really cool documentary feature called Searching for the Summit on that link as well, which is what the NFL did on my epic Everest journey up and down and back to the US this last year. It was really cool. So, and by the way, that's up for an Emmy. So it's fingers crossed at this time. We might hear some great news, which I can announce if we actually won this prestigious award. So on that note, let's get into today's guest. His name is Tyler Tisdale, and he is a music artist emerging on the scene. And I want to bring you in. Tyler, how you doing?
I'm good, Mark. It's good to be here. I appreciate you having me, man.
Man, you got some serious chops. I was listening to you last night, and it's just amazing. And before we get into some of these songs that you're cranking out, and our good buddy Steve Azar, another musical genius I've known for a long time, he's had some big hits, and he really knows the path to success. He's done a great job of turning really a passion into a purpose and monetizing his life in a great way. And so he obviously is the one who introduced us. But if we kind of roll it all back, like for me, I had a football path, and there was kind of a road to how this all happened for me. But let's go back to you. You grew up in Petal, Mississippi.
That's right. Right.
Yeah. And so like this bug for the love of music, like where did that start?
Well, so my dad played guitar a little bit growing up, and I was always had an interest in his playing, and I always really enjoyed sitting around while he was playing songs and stuff. And he got me a guitar when I was around 13 years old, and I started playing a little bit, and then I played like in like youth church for a while. And it kind of started there. I really enjoyed doing it, but during those times when I was coming up, man, I played football as well. And that was a big passion of mine for, all through high school and growing up, we were always playing sports. My brother played 6 years of college baseball. He played at Pearl River Community College, and then I went on and played at Nicholls State in Louisiana. And I, for a long time, thought that was my dream, was to, go on and play college ball and kind of take that route. And I actually ended up getting a full ride to the University of South Alabama in Mobile, Alabama. And it just, when you take that next step, man, when you get to the college level, it's not high school ball anymore, man. That's a whole new, it's a whole new game, and it's your job now, and I don't know. I think I just very quickly realized that I just didn't love football like I thought I did, and I just, I had a talk with my coach there at South Al and was like, I think I'd feel better and sleep better at night knowing you gave this to somebody that really wanted it, and, that really wanted to be here and really loved it. And it just, I didn't know, like, music had not been, that wasn't like what I was leaving it for at the time. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew I didn't want to be there anymore,
Yeah.
And
What position did you play?
So I played offensive line most of my football career. I did my junior year of high school, played tight end, and I thought, like, when I made that switch, I was really excited. I thought that was what I was going to stick with. But man, I hated coming off the field, like in different packages and stuff. You'd be in the middle of like a big drive, and then there's not a tight end on that package, so I get pulled off to the sideline, and I couldn't stand that. So I put on some weight and went back to offensive line. So I got recruited as a offensive lineman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, look, I mean, my daughters were really good volleyball players. And I always told them, I mean, like, you got to really want it. And I went through a lot of dark times when I was playing at the University of Washington, and that's big time college football.
Oh, yeah.
And if you want to go all the way, I kept going to the NFL. But, again, every rung is harder and more focused. And there has to be a bigger commitment to actually get yourself to the top. And so if it's not for you, man, you got to be either all in. If you're not, you're going to be all out. And it sounds like you just made that realization, and you were able to actually, like, have that come to Jesus meeting with yourself, and then face the fire with the coach and like let him know. And that's a hard thing to, like, walk away, something that you step into, right?
Yeah, man, absolutely. Because, not only, it's not, man, when you come from a small town, it's not just you getting that scholarship. It's for, your parents don't have to pay for school now, you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff that factors into it, and all your high school buddies and teammates that were so pumped for you to get that opportunity, a lot of them didn't get it, and it's there's a lot of stuff that weighs on you when you're making that kind of a decision. But sure. I just knew my heart wasn't in it, man. And so long story short, I come on back, and I basically, had to, the sit down I had with coach, I had to sit down and have with Pops now, and mom and dad. And basically they were just like, well, you're always welcome here, but we're roommates now, so go get a job, basically, and figure out what you want to do with your life. So they were upset, but they, at the same time, they could see it in my eyes, that I was, that wasn't where I wanted to be, and I still had some stuff to figure out. And I went to school for a little while, but ended up getting into the restaurant bar business, man. And that's kind of where I found music again, because I was working at this place that would host bands and have shows and stuff. And I had some buddies that were playing in the local scene that I'd gone to high school with, and I'd kind of been hanging around them. And another guy that I'd kind of gotten my first taste of songwriting with. I would hang out with him while he was writing music, and I had gotten back into guitar and started, working on stuff. And I used to listen to a lot of Dave Matthews back in the day and stuff. So I would just, I was basically just, learning as much Dave music as I could. And, and not long into that, I got the opportunity at a little open mic night to go, give it a go and see. I had a little band that we had put together, and there's this festival here in Hattiesburg called what's it called? Pub Fest. And it's just like a little local arts, like an art walk kind of thing, and crafts and stuff, but they have bands playing in all different areas and stuff. And man, that was like my first real show with that band, was playing for Huff. I was so nervous, man. I'd never sang before. Like, we were looking for a girl lead singer. We were like, that's the ticket. I was just playing guitar, and they heard me singing some song, just playing around at practice. And they were like, well, let's just put a mic in front of you. We can't find anybody else. And that's kind of how it happened. And I played my first show. I was hooked, man. It was the bug bit right then, man. I was like, this was, that adrenaline that I felt playing football, in high school with all my buddies, I felt that again, and it was over with. I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do, man. Yeah. Forever.
Well, it's interesting because, as you're talking, and as I was listening to you sing last night, you've got some chops, you got a voice. And it's interesting that you didn't have that confidence from, I don't know if it was 13 or 14 or 15 or what age that you actually, whether it was just you in the shower singing away, whatever that medium was, that, either you or maybe your parents or your friends, somebody didn't say to you, like, have you thought about doing this? You got a pretty good voice.
Man, I was very much I played in my room. I never really played in front. I did the thing at church, but I was just playing guitar at church. That wasn't so nerve wracking to me because I had something to hide behind,
Yeah.
and I could put, I didn't have to look at the crowd. I could look down at my guitar the whole time and just play, so it didn't really bother me that much. I tried singing at church one time, but I heard myself played back one day. I was like, I'm not very good. I don't think singing's my thing. It wasn't that great. It wasn't like a natural thing that came to me. Singing was something that I very much had to like work for. Like when I first, like if you really talk to some true friends, they'll tell you, when I was 19, that was when I played my first show, 19 or 20. And the ones that were at that show, they'll tell you it wasn't great. Like it was. I my first couple of years of doing it had people like, really, this is, okay, this is what you're going to do. All right. I kind of had to get over that and just keep pushing. And then, man, I tell people it's just like working out or something, if you're wanting to get stronger or anything, vocal cords are a muscle, and you work them out and you stick with it. And, the best practice anybody can get singing is cranking up the radio in the car and just singing along and singing your tail off, and really working those vocal cords, and they get stronger. And then eventually it just something kind of clicks and you realize that you have control over your voice all of a sudden. And that's, so like 2 or 3 years into it is when I really was like, oh, I think I understand how to sing now. I can really, it kept growing and getting better and better. And honestly, like right now, where I'm at with my singing in my career is like the most, confident I've ever felt. And like, I feel like I'm just getting to a place where like I can really sing and have control over it and feel very confident in doing it. It's been a 10-year, endeavor, that I've been singing.
Well, I've always said, like my climbing or my NFL stuff or whatever, it took me 10 years for my overnight success, as they say.
Right.
Yeah. So it's the same type of deal. People don't really understand all the hard work that you put into it, as you go. But, then again, you have to have a vision and you have to start. So we're talking to you, this is going to be played both on YouTube and then all the podcast channels that are out there, Spotify, the Apple Network, all that kind of stuff. And for those that can't see you right now, I'm going to explain that what I asked before we came on. You've got this vision tree that's right behind you, and I asked the question, "What's a vision tree?" Yeah, it's not too dissimilar than what I like to call a vision board. And when I was a little kid, I used to always, vision myself being out, playing football against USC or something in the NFL, and then with these different mountains I've done. And I'm going to hold up that you can't see a whole lot, but this is something I drew up when I was at 19,500 feet. And it was basically my vision board of all these things that I want to do. At the time it was to climb the 7 summits, and I'd climbed 4 out of 7 highest peaks in the world. And I had a pretty good,
That's wild.
Well, I hadn't quite climbed the 4th one, but I knew I was going to summit it. I was confident about that. And I just started putting like all these other things I want to accomplish with that, a movie, which happened with the NFL, and public speaking, which I've done and do, starting a social media presence. I've got quite a large following now. So I don't think that you can actually get to the end destination if you're not thinking about it and visualizing and seeing yourself up in that particular space that, maybe 10 years ago, you didn't have the confidence by chip, working away at your craft. What do you have to do every day? Daily discipline, sticking with it, not giving up. I mean, I'm sure for you, how many times, like maybe you're still working a bar or something like that, you're not monetizing the way you want to monetize, and you're writing songs and like, is this ever going to happen? And all that self-doubt. Like, how did you get over that part?
Well, so my career has taken a few different, so 5 years I spent on the road with a like Southern rock like a Grateful Dead meets Allman Brothers,
Yeah.
like jam band, man. Like we toured a lot, and we put out a couple records, and I was like very much in that jam world for a long time, and I really loved that, and so I had we would write a lot together, and a lot of the I guess the experiences, it took those years of playing shows and growing with those guys to really like have stuff to write about now, and I really kind of honed my craft with that band, because I was the main lyricist for the band, and then we had another guy that did a lot of writing as well, and it just it really kind of found my groove there, and then once that band fizzled out and I came into what I'm doing now, I just kind of took that and all the old stuff I came up listening to, and really just kind of decided what kind of artist I wanted to be, which was that singer-songwriter thing, and it really took that time away, because I spent when COVID hit, I was about 8 months or so to a year removed from being with that band, and had not done much. And so when COVID hit, it was almost like a blessing in disguise bit, because that was around the time I met Steve, was right when that was hitting. And we did these writing sessions, and he likes to say, I just needed, I didn't really need much polishing, it was just a little brush up, he was really about what I was already doing. And he just helped me. He opened my eyes a little bit and helped me really get to that next level with my writing. And I really, honestly, I think the whole process of becoming an artist is, it's finding yourself, man. And like you spend all those years, in the grind, where like, our bills were paid, barely, but they were paid, and it was enough to keep us going and to the next gig, and I think it was always that feeling of like, well, the alternative is being some job I hate and doing something that I don't want to be doing. And so if we can do enough to survive and keep it going, I think that's what kept us going longer than anything, was that like that mentality of like, we're surviving right now, but we're doing something we love to do. It's a struggle, but it's a struggle for the greater good. Now, you also, I think, you do have those people that are like, they have the mindset of like, I want to be the superstar or whatever, I want to be the best or whatever. I think in the music world, it's very much a community in the music world. It's at least, amongst the artists, especially, it's like, we're all fans of each other, you know what I mean? So it's very much a community of pushing each other. And I think meeting people that are a little further along in their career and maybe a few steps ahead of where you are and a little more closer to where you want to be, meeting those kind of people and talking with them and taking their advice and just having patience, man, because it's the long game, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's not something that's going to be quick, and your best stuff is going to come later, after you've gone through the grind and you've gone through the you've been in the low times, I've spent 10 years, getting to the good stuff we're at now, where I'm writing about all those experiences, and I'm writing about all that time out on the road. And, that's where I feel like these songs, especially on this record, are definitely the best songs I've written up until this point, and yeah. I feel like the next record is going to be even better. I'm already working on it. So, I think just that, it's a lot of the what a lot of guys like to say, they got bit by the bug, it's really, that's what it is, man. It's just, you don't want to give up on it, man. That's what keeps you going and gets you through those times, man. Yeah. It's like you got to define what making it is for yourself. Is being a superstar and rich and famous, is that the goal? Because you're probably gonna fall pretty short. I think if a career and paying your bills, your family's happy and everybody's eating, that's making it, right? That's, you know what I mean? You're doing something you love to do. You're not miserable, you know. Mental health is good. Everybody's happy. Bills are paid, you know. I mean,
So let me ask you this. You're with this band for a long time. You're honing your chops. You're going around, you make a couple of albums, all that kind of stuff. And now you decide to split. You're the main guy that writing a lot of the music. How did that go down with your bandmates? I mean, you know, it seems like
so
that's a big piece of the puzzle, but you have to go off and, you know, do what's best for you.
yeah. So it in that band, it wasn't just that was a very creative band. Literally, it was a 5-piece band. So every member of the band could write. You know, it wasn't, I did most of the writing for that band because that was how it started originally, but it was evolving into more of a group effort, you know, closer to when things kind of went splits. But a couple of the members were in another group that was gaining a little steam as well. And they were coming to a point where they wanted to focus on that for a minute because they had put those things on the back burner for our band. And really, man, it just came to a point where it was like, you know, I had songs that I was sitting on that didn't fit what we were doing. They wanted to do you know, that band for a little while. And I know that for one band to succeed, the other has to fail, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's really hard, like, to push two at the same time in this industry. Everybody's got to be all focused on the same goal all the time, or it's going to fall apart, you know? And so I was like, you know, basically, guys, let's just, you know, you guys go do your thing, you know, and go do it right. Put all your time and all your energy into that band. If that's what you guys, where your heart's at right now, put everything into that. I'm going to go put everything. I'm betting on myself this time. I'm going to go put everything on me and my thing with my songs. You know, I'm going to make my record that I've been wanting to make. And, you know, I think it was kind of a blessing in the sky. It was hard. Don't get me wrong. I love those guys. They were my best friends, you know, and, you know, we're still all friends, you know. It just, it was a hard time, you know. It was 5 years on the road together playing gigs, you know. So, it was hard to walk away from, for sure, but it was for the best for everyone.
I know, I get that. I mean, change can be good, but transition can be hard, right? And that's just
Right.
what you have to go through. So there's all these mega platforms, and a lot of times, like, you know, somebody that grows up in Petal, Mississippi, you know, they're not going to get the stage. I know this was a classic case with Carrie Underwood. I mean, obviously an insane voice, and she grew up in some small town in Oklahoma or someplace, and she goes on this little show called American Idol and blows off the doors, and today she's a superstar. Have any of those venues, those platforms, you know, there's The Voice, there's American Idol, there's some of these other ones that are out there. Have those ever tempted you to go on to like, you know, maybe this is the path I need to be on?
I'll and this may be a little controversial, but, you know, I don't feel like those shows prepare you for what comes after, essentially. Yeah. I don't feel like, it is a good outlet. It is a great way to get your name out there. It is a way to do it. I'm also very stubborn on this subject, just because I mean, I have this vision in my head, you know. I've of how I want my career to go, how I want to be remembered. And I want to do it like all the guys that I love their music so much, you know. And it kind of goes back to, you know, you know, the experiences that we write about, you know. It's, you know, you got to go have those experiences to have stuff to write about, you know, and to have stuff that people want to hear about, you know, and things of substance, you know. And it, you know, that's a great outlet for a performer. You know, if you're one of these people that doesn't really have like the songwriter aspirations of it, you're more just, you're the performer and you want to go out and do shows. That's a great outlet for you, because you're gonna meet all the right people to be able to do those things. my heart truly lies. I love playing shows and I love singing. Don't get me wrong, but my heart truly lies with the songwriting, and that's I feel like if I can go out on the road and build my following organically, and just going out and playing shows and people know me through that, I can meet people, have experiences on the road, and have things to write these songs about, and it's that part of it's just very important to me. And it's not like I don't knock anyone that wants to go and do the voice or any of those things. That's totally your choice, and I'll support you. I'll even turn it on, watch it, and go vote for you. I just it's not the vision I have for my career.
Yeah, I totally get that. So let's talk about one of those songs that seems to be part of the new album, and it's called "She's the One." Okay, and then we're gonna ask you to strum a few notes on it, but. So as you go back and again, you're reflecting on your life, you're reflecting on your own experience, and you come up with this great lyric, and it seems to be getting a lot of traction right now in some of the various outlets that are out there. But like, where did this song come from? She's the One. Is this from your own experience?
Yeah, man, it's about my girl, my fiance, man. We're getting married in October. She stayed at home when I went to go meet up with Steve and start making the record. I went out to the Delta where he's from, Delta State University. We used they have an incredible studio there that we had access to. And so it was the night before the studio, first day in the studio. And I just had the jitters, man. And I was sitting in my hotel room and just had a lot of creativity flowing, a lot of ideas in my head. Couldn't really sleep, was eager to get in the studio. And that was one of those songs. It's, the ones that always do the best are the ones that you didn't even mean to write. It just fell out, I wrote that song in like an hour, it just fell out, and there it was. And I was thinking about my fiance, and wishing she was there with me. And so I wrote this song about her, and it's resonated with a lot of people, man. And I've gotten to go to a couple weddings where, they're playing it at the weddings and stuff. And, I love it, man. It's cool to see. And, it's a song about love and being with the right person, and so, who can't resonate with that?
I can resonate with that. So let's pick up your guitar. And what I like to do is just kind of like what I did with Steve when he came on. We don't need to play the whole song, but what I want to do is give the audience a sampling of your talent, your voice, and where this passion comes from. And there's a lot of heart behind what you're singing. And it's pretty cool. So if we just kind of get into it, maybe the first verse, and then we'll move on to the second one.
Yeah, man, for sure. You hear that all right?
I sure can. All right, let's let it rip. She's the One.
Well, she's the one, probably the only one who don't think I'm just plain crazy. Well, she understands. Maybe she's the only one who can make me wanna dance. I know it's hard to love someone who's always on the run. Just know that this winding road leads me home to you.
2 thumbs up, man. That is great. It really is. I mean, you have something
appreciate
going on
that.
there. You do. Okay, so if I read this right, you were You might have been in Colorado someplace with a bunch of guys, and I live in an area. I live in the middle of Idaho, so there's these mountains at my window
Okay.
all over the place. And I grew up in Seattle, so there's a lot of mountains up there, and so it was an easy move for me to start climbing because I was surrounded by all this stuff, and down in the
Oh yeah.
Delta, there's not a whole lot of mountains. I mean, population 20 feet, right?
That's right.
So now you're on
That's
this.
right.
Yeah, you're. I'm assuming everything I'm saying is true. You're in the great state of Colorado with some of your guys, and you climbed some mountain, and you wrote another song called High, and
Yeah.
that also I believe is coming out on this album, and it also is getting a hell of a lot of traction.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit more about High, and again, how you get inspiration when you're like, are you walking? I'm not a songwriter, so I'm asking this question because I'm a dummy when it comes to this stuff. But like, you're like, at what point in time do you have to really focus on? Okay, I'm going to write a song where you're just walking down the street and bam, it hits you, and like you got to go back and write on your phone or on a piece of paper.
Yeah, man. Well, all those are right. It's there's definitely times where I know guys, and I've done this as well. Some guys just will set studio time, go into the studio for say 2 weeks and write, record, and mix an entire record in 2 weeks. Like they'll put themselves on a time limit and go in and just start writing, and that's best for them. And then, the way I do most of my writing is alone by myself. So I have the luxury of just, a few times a week, I'll pop in my music room and just pick up the guitar and just play. I don't go into the room saying I'm going to write a song today. I just go in and pick up my guitar and just playing guitar, and if something starts, I'm like, that's a cool idea. I'm like, all right, let's chase that for a little while, and then I'll get like a lot of times what'll happen is I'll just mumble and I'll, find a melody, and I'll have a whole song structured out to the point where now all I got to do is the song's there. I just got to go fill in the blanks and write lyrics, and then I'll just like record it on my phone and I'll just let it play on my phone and write lyrics while it's playing, and, there's a lot of different ways. Me and Steve went into we did 10 sessions together. That's like how we first got started. I emailed him my stuff applying for his songwriting sessions. I wanted to do the 10 sessions, and turns out the sessions are like an audition basically to see if he wants to work with you. Yeah. Or at least that's what it was for me. And by like halfway into it, he was already talking about wanting to manage me and stuff. And that's kind of how our relationship got started. But with Steve, it would be, I would bring an idea, something that I'd already kind of started. And then, I would sing the lines I'd written, and he would say, okay, you can best yourself there. You can do better than that line. You can, or that word or whatever, chase that further, keep writing, keep going. Let's find something better, and he would just push me until by the end of it, we had gotten, the absolute best possible lyric we wanted or whatever, and the song from where it started, when I brought it into the session, I'd go back and listen to it. I'm like, dang, this got way better, like just because you chased it further, and he's really good at pulling that out of you, and making you realize you're better than you think you are. He's a great producer, man. He really is.
Yeah, well, we'll get into High in just a second, but I do want to insert that I was trying to get Steve to write my Mount Everest song when I was going up there, and I guess I didn't qualify to be part of that, the 10 session dude, because I had all kinds of material, man, and he didn't want to go through it. But again, okay, so let's go back. You're in Colorado. You come up here.
Yeah.
You come up with this song called High, and quickly, what's that about? And then let's get into some riffs.
I went, some friends of mine, it was a few different couples and some other buddies. We all went to Estes Park in Colorado there. Beautiful place. Rented a cabin and we were hanging out. We went on this, like, I think it was like a 7-mile hike or something like that. But it was like a trail that just went straight up the mountain. I've never been to the top of a mountain before, and that was an experience for me, man. I don't know how you guys do the actual like rock climbing and stuff, man. That was scary enough for me just doing the hike. And but we made it to the top, man, and it was a really cool experience. And but my foot was giving me some trouble after that hike, and we got back down, and we were supposed to go out and do it again the next day. And I woke up, man, I couldn't hardly move. And wasn't sure what I'd done to myself. So I was like, you guys go ahead. I was like, I'm going to let this chill for today. And I had my guitar with me, and I was like, man, we had this beautiful view off the front porch of the cabin we were staying in. It was literally just an overlook of Estes Park, and it was gorgeous, man. And so I grabbed the guitar and, made something warm to drink, and went and sat out on the patio and just, man, started playing. And I had this like little, actually with Steve got in on it. We changed the keys we changed key on it because I was singing it like in a key that was much higher, and I was really straining myself. Yeah. And Steve was like, you don't have to kill yourself. We can just change the key, and it'll be a little easier for you to sing. And I was like, okay. But man, I had that little just choppy country riff had been in my head for a while, and I just kind of ran with it, man. And that song fell out that afternoon while I was sitting there. I probably sat there for like 2 or 3 hours, and that song came out of it, man. It's just the whole song's about being on tour with your buddies and towing the line and trying not to take it too far, man. Yeah. That's what the whole song's about.
I love that.
Well, the clouds are thick, wind is strong, there's snow all over the roof. It's hard to find that friend of mine who sold them drugs to you. The show that's on, gotta find it soon. The show is getting close. Ain't feeling lucky, this sinking in. This life is what we chose, and it's a high. Off in them hills, all you can do to pay the bills. It's a high, but you can't find. Well, you can't find.
Lee, man, I can't imagine being a higher key than that. That right? Broken me. Yeah. All right. So ran in third base here. So you have an album that's coming out. I'm sure you're jacked up about that, and Steve's as well. That's awesome. It comes out on or around May 13th. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, May 13th, man. New Music Friday. Yeah, man, we're really excited. Steve was so much fun to work with. It's my first time working with an actual producer, like, very hands-on with the entire project, start to finish. And man, he really put his touch on it, and I've learned so much being in the studio with him, man. And we really made a record that I'm super proud of, and I just can't wait for everybody to hear the rest of it, man. We've got a few singles out right now that everybody can check out, but yeah, man, very excited. Very excited.
Awesome. And so where can people, first of all, what's the name of the record? Number one, and number two is where can people find this?
So the name of the record is self-titled, Tyler Tisdale. And the name of the record is If It's All the Same to You, there's a song on the record with the same title as well, which will be the last single that comes out right before the record is released as well. And you can find me Spotify, Apple Music, any way you listen to music, YouTube. We're all over the place, man. You can find my website, tylertisdalemusic.com. Facebook is Tyler Tisdale Music, and Instagram is Tyler Tisdale Music. I'm sorry, Tyler Tisdale Official is Instagram.
Nice. All right, buddy. Listen, any friend of Steve is a friend of mine. You've been an absolute joy and delight, and you really do have what it takes. that drive, the determination, that grit. I'm sure when we start talking about adversity, finding your way, it's all part of the story. You don't get to be great without going through the adversity, to have those stories, to be able to story tell.
That's right.
In the way that you sing and you communicate. And there's so many people who can relate to probably a lot of the things that you've been, She's the One, Hi, all these other songs that you have out there. And so to you, good luck. And we will launch this pod on the 13th in conjunction with the release of your album. And so really jacked up to help promote this out there. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Mark, man. I really appreciate it. And man, it's honor to talk to an ex-Saint, by the way. I'm a huge Saints fan. So great getting to talk to you, man. Who dat?
Right. Who dat? All right, everybody. He is the one, the only Tyler Tisdale. Thank you, buddy.